Thanks so much, Mr. Chatterjee, for taking out time. Congratulations both to you as well as Mr. Narendran for the Usha Martin acquisition. Many analysts on the street believe that the valuations that you have given, 4,300 to 4,700 crores, subject to requisite approvals, is a pretty attractive valuation. What made you bid aggressively as compared to some of your other peers like JSW and Liberty and a few others who are also in the race?
No, I think whenever we have looked at an inorganic acquisition, I think the fundamentals of that business comes out the first as an important area to look at. And secondly, when you look at setting up similar capacities, what's the time value of money as well as the time required, including a greenfield. So that was the same issue as far as Bhushan Steel is concerned. And so long as the strategic fit is strong and important for us in our long-term journey, we tend to pay what is fair from our perspective, taking these into account. So I think this is the same thing that our board considered on the same basis, and we were able to provide this valuation.
Mr. Narendran, Usha Martin wanted to reduce his debt or deleverage the balance sheet. Initially, they were looking at the wire and rope business. Later, they decided to sell the steel business. So clearly, this move will help to deleverage their balance sheet. What is the strategic rationale for Tata Steel to pick up Usha Martin? It has presence in the long steel segment. That's something that you guys are planning to expand on. And secondly, they also have a plant in Jamshedpur. So will that not lead to operational and cost synergies for you?
Absolutely. I think you said it all. Basically, we were missing a bit of long products in our portfolio because the next 10 million tons of expansion, including the 5 million in Kalinganagar and the 5 million of Bhushan, was all flat products, Bhushan Steel. So we were missing long products, and originally when we went into the IBC process, electro steel was very much in our portfolio, and that didn't happen for whatever reasons. So hence Usha Martin is a good choice for us. Not only is it in long products, it's also in specialty longs, which services the auto segment. Specialty longs is something where we've had a rich history. We've been out of this business for a few years. So it's good to get back into this business. The fact that this plant is in Jamshedpur, we know it well. We know the ecosystem well. We know Jamshedpur well, and obviously we can derive a lot of synergies from being in the same city. But the plant is a plant that we know well because Usha Martin is one of our neighbors, and we've interacted with them over the years. So there are many reasons why it's a good fit for us. So as Koushik said, it was about finding the right value that we were willing to pay, which was working for them as well. And I think we've got a good deal.
Koushik, initially when you've spoken about the Bhushan acquisition, you spoke about the fact that there are certain sectors that Tata Steel wants to focus on, say, for example, the auto sector. If you look at Usha Martin, interestingly, I think even Tata Steel is one of the clients of Usha Martin. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tata Motors is one of the clients of Usha Martin. Now, if you look at Usha Martin, it's in the automobile space. It's in the heavy earth moving space. It's also in the oil and gas space. So any of these sectors that you're looking at in terms of taking it to the next level in terms of your sectoral expertise?
So I think what we have is a common set of customers. We serve them differently, maybe in the flat products business, and this becomes a complementary to the entire bouquet of offerings. So I think we will certainly be looking at leveraging our customer relationships in as far as these products are concerned. And as Naren mentioned, it helps us enter the new alloy steel segment and special steel segment, which is very important for us.
1 million tons per annum is the capacity of this asset. Where does that place you in terms of your overall capacity? It's about 27 million tons per annum, Narendran?
We are currently on track for 23, which is 5 million of Bhushan Steel and Bhushan Steel and 5 million of Kalinganagar. So that takes us to 23, 24. Jamshedpur can actually go to about 11 million. And Usha Martin adds almost 1 million tons. It's actually, steel make is about 750 and iron making is about 1 million.
All right. One quick question that I also want to ask you on the long steel segment, the specialty business. Why is it that you're betting so big on it, Koushik?
No, one reason is that we are small in long steel. If you look at the 23 number that Naren mentioned, 19 will be almost flat products. And the long steel, we have not grown as much as we have grown in flats. So I think given the attractiveness of the long steel market, both on construction as well as on the high-end automotive, we need to grow in that market too. So, and therefore, instead of setting up as a new facility, you get into an acquisition where you get customers overnight, you get customer approved products overnight and cash flows. So that makes imminent sense for us to venture into this segment.
Narendran, Tata Steel, as we are all aware, has been pretty busy as far as scouting for stressed assets in the steel segment is concerned. There are many assets up for grabs. You already have Bhushan, the first asset, as well as Usha Martin now in equity. The other Bhushan asset is, of course, the topic of litigation now. How hopeful are you of breaking the deadlock over there?
Well, let's wait for the courts to decide. We'll cross that bridge when we come to that. I think our difficulty was that the process was compromised. We played by the process. Like I mentioned before, in electro steel, we played by the process. We didn't get it. That's fine. We respected the process. I think in this case, we found that the process was compromised, and that's why we've been fighting it out. But we'll cross that bridge when we reach there. But it's also clear that we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I think we are very clear that for any asset, we would only pay the value it deserves.
Koushik, what do you say about the current steel environment in India and globally? What are some of the trends that you're spotting?
No, I think the steel environment in India is pretty strong. I think if you look at the kind of price movements that are happening, it is significantly better than any of the previous years period around especially the monsoon season. And if you really look at the international price environment, we see that in Europe also is very stable. Commodity prices in general have been volatile, but steel has been an exception, primarily because of the supply discipline that's coming out of China. And I think coal and iron ore prices have also been, from that perspective, benign. So from a fundamental point of view, I think the steel environment has been supportive.
What about the pace of progress as far as the ThyssenKrupp JV is concerned, Narendran? Because recently we saw a knee-jerk reaction from the Tata Steel, overseas at least, the GDR. We saw a dip over there, a sharp dip, and that's uncharacteristic. So there are concerns that perhaps ThyssenKrupp, because of the change in management and because of the shake-up there, the JV is not progressing at the pace at which it ideally should have. Are there any concerns on that front? I know you've allayed these concerns in the past, but off late, what's the latest that you're picking up?
Yeah. As far as the pace of the JV is concerned, there's no change. In fact, while they've had changes in management there, one of the key persons involved was Guido, who was front-ending them as far as the discussions are concerned. So Guido is now the interim CEO of ThyssenKrupp. So at the leadership level in Thyssen, there is a lot of commitment to the JV. I also think at the shareholder level, there is a lot of commitment. I think if the shareholders had a view, it was more to do with the valuation rather than the concept of the JV itself. Just now, the process is running with the Competition Commission and the EU regulatory authorities. A lot of work is going on behind the scenes. This is not work that is visible, but a lot of engagement is going on because they ask us a lot of questions and we give them the answers. So that process is going on. So we are waiting for that process to complete. It's a slightly complex process, and both teams are very deeply engaged, both Thyssen side and ourselves. So there is no let up in the pace. I think everyone wants it to happen very fast. But the process we don't run the process. We are participants in the process just now. And once the Competition Commission clearance comes through, then we are ready to go. So, but there is no letting up on the speed.
Right, gentlemen, thanks so much. Always a pleasure speaking to both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Usha.